What's going on, everybody? So, guess what? We're back for another episode of It Starts With Me. We have a most excellent guest today. I'm really excited about this. Somebody that I have been desiring to be on this show since before the show's conception. But first, before I tell you who it is, I want to go ahead and make sure we make sure we take care of the other things that we need to take care of. Like what? Please comment, contact, click on a form if you want to join the podcast or share your story. Like and share love. Please visit us on what? Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. We're there. We're all over the place. You can always find us on the Tenacity Foundation, YouTube, or inside of our LinkedIn or Facebook. Anyway, I'm loving all those types of things. Want to remind you all that on Monday nights at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern, you have Motivational Mike Monday. He's so funny. He's like, I don't even know if I'm going to call it Motivational Mike anymore because he's just giving that goodness raw. So we're thankful. Again, remember us here, 12:30 every single Wednesday. Yes, it starts with me. So remember that. 12 p.m., 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And again, we'll be back again for the Community Beacon every single Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. You'll have your hosts, Michael Seville and Joel Simmons. Anyway, it's time. Let's get ready. We're going to now bring to the front our guest of today. It is Miss Veree Jenkins, also known as my mother. I love her. She is the founder and CEO of the Federation of Families of Florida. She's been actively pursuing and working this career and helping people all over Florida for 21 years. She is the most excellent mother, the awesome grandmother, the faithful and devoted wife, the caregiver of hundreds, the resource of thousands. She has become a mother to countless numbers of individuals. And yes, I do share her because she is most excellent and worthy and able and equipped. I thank you for her, Lord. And this time I bring to your front Miss Veree Jenkins. Hey, how's it going, Mama?
Good morning, son. How are you?
I'm doing well. You look beautiful as always.
Thank you. You look pretty handsome yourself.
Thank you. I am so glad that you are on this show with us today. It starts with me. I mean, I almost feel like you should be interviewing me because you have been such a great impact in my life.
Well, I'm very proud of you and I'm happy to be on your show this morning. Thank you. You're getting
Awesome.
me out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
At least I'm trying to believe that.
Well, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. Just for those of y'all out there, she was not so comfortable about being in front of the camera, but she's going to do it. She's getting out of it. I don't know if you all got a chance to check out the Motivational Mike maybe maybe a week or two ago, but her and I were in LA on a double-decker bus, and we managed to get on the Motivational Mike TV show and or live stream, and we were able to give shout outs and do some good stuff. So that was cool. What do you say?
It was an awesome, awesome trip. It was a little chilly up there on that top deck, but we had a fabulous, fabulous time. And of course, I was just ecstatic because I had the best host. Your host of It Starts With Me was my host on that trip, Joel. So it was fabulous. Great.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself. You've done more than that for me over the many years of my life, so I'm grateful. So, how has your week been going so far?
It's been very busy, very exciting. And as usual, life gives you ups and downs. So we just have to roll with it. But it's been pretty good overall. Actually, pretty fantastic.
That's a powerful statement. Life gives you ups and downs, and then to be able to say it's been fantastic afterwards is definitely laudable. So we're grateful to hear something like that. Many people maybe even watching or listening today are going through something inside their life, and maybe they don't have the opportunity to stay fantastic at the end of it, but you're able to. So what did you encounter this week that was that kept you busy, but you still felt like you learned something, or it still was a fantastic type of learning lesson?
Well, I don't want to get too deep, but my program works with children and families. And unfortunately, we lost one of our children to unfriendly gunfire. Um, and she was only 8 years old. And she was a beautiful little angelic child who was just as sweet as she could be. So while there's nothing at all that I can say about that, I mean, it's what I do. Is I work with families where things like this happen. Um, I look at the family and the things that they've been through. I've been able to provide a little support to the family. Also think about the family of the person who committed this crime, and I grieve for both sides because I understand how all of this works in this world where people are having so many mental health issues and so many tragedies in our lives. And my purpose in life is to try to help others live joyful lives. And we have to figure out how to do that even when the worst things that could possibly happen. And for me, what helps me to be able to jump back is to be able to give back. And as long as I can give back and try to brighten somebody else's day, no matter how tragic it is, that gives me more strength. And so, we mourn her loss, but we also hope that the community and the family will grow together, be more united, and that, my desire is that our community be able to come back in a more positive way, because it was a tragedy to the entire community, not to this one individual family. So I admit I didn't mean to come on and talk about something but this is really what's happening in our world, in our communities today, that these things are happening, that people are not focused as much on the value of life, and that people are so hurt, and I'm always concerned about what can we do to prevent that hurt from infesting someone's life and causing them to act out in such a grievous way. So, I want to turn this conversation around in the sense that, even when we have adversities, we have opportunities to be able to build up the community, to build up other people. And for me, you asked the question, it starts with me. For me, as a child, I myself experienced childhood adversities. And it was that at the age of 4, not much younger than this young girl that I'm speaking of, that when I saw adversities in life, I said, you know what? My first exposure to women in the workplace, really strong women in the workplace, was in the public school system. So at that time, I decided maybe I'll be a school teacher. So if I ever have some adversity in my life, then I would have a strong foundation to work with, to be able to raise my family and to be able to create a positive impact in the world. And so that's really how it started for me. It was an adversity that I observed that gave me the motivation to try to move on.
Wow. This is a powerful testimonial. There's a lot going on here. And I definitely appreciate what you're doing there for the community and how well you're keeping yourself together to be able to help so many others. And I know you didn't really want to dive too deep in that, and I understand that because we want to give respect to the families and the community. So I won't ask you any more questions in regards to that. But I do want to know about, there was something that you said, about when you were 4 years old and how you went through some childhood adversities and how the situation today is reminding you of back then when you had a turning point in your life and decided to become a teacher. So tell us more about that. What was it that inspired you right then and there at 4 years old to transition into this giving type of career?
Well, I won't give all of the details. However, I happened to be at the age of 4 when I observed um, a woman in distress and who was vulnerable. And oftentimes we don't think about children, and we underestimate their thought processes. But even at 4, my thinking was, oh, I never want anything like this to happen to me. So after observing that, I went to school, to kindergarten in Trenton, New Jersey. And I was watching my teacher. And at 4, the thought went, that's a good career. I'd be able to make a good living at being a teacher. And then I would not have to subject myself or allow myself to rest in places where I might experience adversity. I'm just going to say adversities at the hands of someone else. And that was so strong on me that I kept that motivation to the point when I was in high school. I even graduated a year early. I graduated from high school at the age of 15.
Awesome.
Thank you. And with the intent of going to college, because I knew that by going to college, I would have enough income, I would be able to support myself, and if I ever had any strong adversities come against me in life, that I would be able to make it. And that was my entire goal. All of my life was go to college, be able to support myself, and if I had a family, I would be able to take care of my family.
Okay. I mean, wow. I hope y'all are out there listening to this. I mean, this is like out of the mouth of babes, right? Let every word be spoken. Listen, this is powerful. I mean, at 4 years of age to have that type of mindset. And so, what I'm hearing is a huge lesson to parents everywhere, when they have these conversations I'm a parent, when we have our conversations, that we ought to be more cautious about what we're saying around our children and what we present, because our children are soaking things up. You had a mind to do two things to make sure that you would never be placed in a danger zone that could cause you pain. Now, I know we can't protect ourselves from everything, but you at least had that mind to not put yourself in a position that could get you into some type of trouble. And then you also started to create this plan to broaden your horizon so that you will be financially stable and able to take care of whatever came. This is amazing. So, all right. So tell me more. What were some of the things that maybe caused you, difficulty along the way in this transition, from going from a little child straight through school into this adult person that is able to deal with the stress and make the money? What were some of those difficulties, if you had any?
Well, first of all, I feel like it was a gift. I feel that at the age of 4, God really gave me a gift. When he planted that thought in my head, it was the most precious gift that anyone could give me. Um, when I was in high school, I went to my guidance counselor because I didn't feel that high school was fulfilling me. And my and I said I wanted to graduate from high school early. And I knew that all I needed to do was to take a particular class that was from the next level up, and then I'd be able to double up on my classes and then graduate early. And my guidance counselor said, no, you're too young. That's for students who are aging out of the school, and we allow them to do that. So, to put a positive spin on that skill, I was determined that I was going to graduate early. So I went another way. I had a mentor who used to use the expression, try another way. Well, before I even met him, I had already incorporated that into my life, that when I couldn't make it one way, that I would just try another way. And so the other way was that I went to someone else. I signed up for the class. I took the class that summer. I came back to school. I finished all my courses so that I could graduate when I was in the 11th grade. I still didn't have a college to go to, but I had an idea that I wanted to go to a particular college. That was Hampton Institute. It is now Hampton University. And one of our instructors had planned a field trip to take some of our students to another college that was nearby Hampton Institute. And so I asked if I could go along. I did not want to go to that other school, but it was in a neighboring city. So he took me, but he said, I'm not going to promise you that we're going to stop there because this is a day trip. It was several hours away and we may not have time. And I jumped in the van. We went to the other school. It was actually Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. And when you cross the bridge coming back in from Norfolk, you come into the city of Hampton, Virginia. And I begged him. It was almost 5 o'clock. The administration office closed at 5 o'clock. And I begged him, please, this is the last day for submitting an application to go to Hampton Institute. I had already applied to 2 other universities, and I begged him so much that he had to pull the van into the college campus. I turned in the application a few minutes before 5. I received my responses from the other 2 schools. The last one I heard from was Hampton Institute, and that is where I graduated from with my bachelor's degree in education, was Hampton Institute.
That's powerful. And might I add, for those of you all who don't know, this was during the time when you could not just simply send an email in.
No.
It just didn't work that way. Mail was wasn't gonna get you in there quick enough, right? This was it. You had to show up. So I mean, wow. Okay, so let's gather some of the good out of this, because there's a lot there. You know, there's a lesson in there about recognizing your own self-worth, being aware of yourself, and being aware of what you want, and gaining a mentor. We talk about that often, about getting a coach, consultant, getting a mentor. And you were at the age of 15 and you were like, okay, I need a mentor. Tell me a little bit more about that.
For me, it was gleaning the best I could from each of the relationships that I was involved in. It wasn't just one individual. When I look back over my life, I believe that I had the ability to discern from different people those pieces that I needed. And so as I began to grow up and to mature and went on and finished my graduate education and began to work for different companies, somewhere along the line, and I think it was in college, that they taught us how you needed to dress and how you needed to carry yourself in order to think of um, the position that you wanted to be in, not the position that you're in, but to groom you for the next position. So I grew up with that mentality that to be thought half as good as, you had to be 10 times better. And I grew up with the mentality that if you wanted to be the director, then even though you might be the lowest person on the totem pole in the company where you worked, that you had to come in with that spirit and that aura humbly, but that someone could look at you and possibly think, you know, she could be our next coordinator, she could be our next director. And so this was something that I picked up when I was being educated. And this is something that I carry with me. And so that when opportunities came, I would seize them. You know, I would try to take initiative so that I could show them the things that I could do so that maybe one day, and I'll give you an example. I worked for a company in Maryland and I was a program coordinator, which is kind of like a social work position. And they brought me in to interview me. And while they were interviewing me, they would just pluck my brain for all kinds of information about how to open up residential treatment facilities. They were writing a grant, and I had worked in a residential treatment facility before. And so I gave them all this information. And one day I'm sitting at home and it dawned on me, well, who are they going to hire to be over the program? And I had basically laid out the foundation for them. And so I went to the executive director and I said, do you have any plans or ideas on who you're going to hire to be the coordinator of this position? And he said, no, we don't. I said, well, have you thought about me? I think I could do it. And I did get the job. I did get the job. And, you know, my next challenge was to create a budget, which he just gave me all this information. He said, I want you to create a budget and bring it back into me. And I have to admit that I went home, I spread out all the budget information. I was like 23 years old. And I could handle my own budget at home. And as I sat there looking at all these budgets, and like you said, we didn't have that technology back in the day, as the young people would say. But as I sat there in the middle of my bed with everything around me, the thought came to me, just think of this budget as if it were your own household budget, which you can manage. And I put everything together, did the budget, turned it into my boss, and I must have done okay because I never heard anything back from him, and I kept on making budgets. You know, and I think that, you know, even with today, me being nervous here with you today, it just shows that when you make up your mind to do something and you take that first step, that first leap of faith, that you can do pretty much anything that you want to do.
Yes, yes. I wrote that down, as a matter of fact, as something that I felt like needs to be brought out, because I feel sometimes people, it's part of that self-awareness. They don't feel as if they can do something. For whatever the reason is, they doubt themselves. And you just have this aura of self-confidence and this belief in yourself and what you're able to accomplish, that you're able to do things that you had never done before. And I think that that's powerful, because you also are giving a message about how you learned how to prep yourself for what you desire to see. I call that PAM management, where we project a specific outcome and then we act on it until it manifests. But you were living this way before I was even, thought about. And it's just amazing. So, all right. So we're going to start to wrap this up. Where do you see yourself at in 5 years? I mean, this can be a really big question. But I would love to know where you see yourself going in the next 5 years.
So I've been really blessed. The Federation of Families was another opportunity that I was blessed with, and that I had that I seized and that I took advantage of, not in a negative way, but I just felt so passionate about this opportunity to work with families that have behavioral health issues and to help other people. And so when the opportunity came, I had just been to a leadership conference, and I saw no one around me to start this project, which really needed to happen in our community. And so after the leadership conference, I came back that Monday. My boss said, take off from work. And I came to work and I wrote the Articles of Incorporation. And here we are 21 years later. And that project has concluded. I say that to say that I'm really blessed that I have such a wonderful job, that I truly believe that the things that I'm doing on my job, except for all the paperwork and administrative stuff that we're required to do with grants and so forth, that I'm blessed to be doing something that I would do even if I wasn't getting paid for it. And everyone cannot say that. And so it really fits my lifestyle. I know that it has been a blessing for me. And so 5 years from now, what I see myself doing is less of this, not on a schedule, on my own schedule. My husband and I have this dream, Dad and I have this dream that we'll only work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 to 2 so that we can have long weekends and so that we can be involved in more in ministry and in the community. And I am so excited, and that's what we are moving in the direction of. And for me, it's always been about, and I'm going to have to go back and tell you, I love your theme, It Starts With Me, because I think at the root of it, all I want for other people is for them to see that seed growing in them. And then if we have an opportunity to be able to see what's in them so that they can grow and get to the capacity that God has for their lives. And I always say I would like to see people have joy in their lives. That's it. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing. I would just like to be able to do it on a different type of schedule.
Well, in 5 years from now, I would like to be in some type of program, whether it's this one or some other one, and have you back in 5 years. So, God give us the grace to be there 5 years. And I would love to be able to pull this episode up and say, hey, are you there? Because I think that you will be. You have projected everything in your life up to this point, and God has blessed you to be able to do all the things that you've desired to do, and you do well. You help many people all over, and your testimony is strong. All you have to do is look up Veree Jenkins in the World Wide Web, and your face will pop up. So I think that that's a pretty astounding accomplishment that you have done, and I'm proud to call you mom.
Thank you, son.
Absolutely. All right. Is there anything that you would like to leave with the listeners or the viewers before we close out?
Simply just believe in yourself. Don't have any doubts. And what God has for you, it really is for you. And so just be ready that when it appears that you're ready to walk in it.
Couldn't have said that better myself. All right, everyone. This was Miss Veree Jenkins, and we were glad to have her with us today. I hope that she'll come back on the show in the future. Maybe.
I took the first step today.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Eat your heart out, Neil Armstrong. All right. Well, with much thanks, we're going to go ahead and send you to the back room, and we're going to close out the show. Thank you. All right. So listen, that was Miss Veree Jenkins of the Federation of Families of Florida. She left a lot of good stuff, So remember these things, groom yourself for success. Start now. You can do it. Glean from the best. Take whatever it is, any type of good you can get, glean from the best. It's for your own good. Attend leadership conferences and get consultation or coaching or mentoring, so you can help glean from the best and you can learn and prepare yourself for the future. And remember, you can be whatever you want to be. All of these messages are things that she not only shared with us, but things that she has done inside of her life to give her the type of success that she has. All around the world, we want you to know from this show to you, not only does it doesn't start with somebody else. It starts with you just as it starts with me. Peace.